When it comes to baking for their kids, no one does it better than Mom. As a pastry instructor, published author, and award-winning chef, I feel it's important to always remember how it all started. Family traditions and baking with my mom is where it all began. In this series, I bring together my love of homemade bakes with a pinch of culinary creativity. Join me, Aaron McInnes, and my special guests as they share their family recipes with me on Baking It Up a Notch. Corner Brook is one of the largest cities in Newfoundland. It's home to many residents, including Pam. And Pam's family cannot get enough of her mincemeat pies around the holidays. No matter how old we get or how far we travel, nothing beats coming home and sitting down to a hot cup and a lovingly prepared treat. Today, we're here in Corner Brook with Pam, and Pam has prepared for us some Christmas mincemeat tarts. Now, Pam, I would love to hear why these are your family's favorite Christmas tradition.
Well, the recipe itself comes from my grandmother and passed on to my mother and got passed on to me, and I have passed it on to my children. Every Christmas Eve, we would go to church, and when we came home, there would be mincemeat tarts. Sit down and have a glass of milk with them, and of course, parents would have something else. We would sit and eat them, and then we would hang up our stockings and go to bed.
I know personally, I can't wait to try it because standing here over this plate of them, they smell absolutely incredible. So why don't we have a taste and then we'll take it from there.
Okay.
All right. They are very good. I am a very big fan of winter spices, and there's so much flavor in those. And those raisins are nice and juicy from the apple juice and the brandy that's in there, but absolutely incredible. I can see why they're a family favorite. Pam, I think it's time that we start baking it up a notch and making a shortbread mincemeat square.
Sounds good to me.
Let's grab our aprons and get going.
Okay.
Pam, I just unwrapped your mincemeat, and I got to say, this whole room has filled with an amazing smell. This we can't just make in half, right?
No.
Obviously, mincemeat takes a couple of days because you have your dried fruits that have to absorb all that moisture and goodness, but man.
Stir it every day.
Stir it every day. So there's a lot of work and prep that goes into making these, and you can see that they're so lovingly prepared, but man, look at all of the raisins, the golden, we call them golden nuggets. But, oh, they're so good, it's so beautiful. So what I've done is I've kind of taken all of the same ingredients of the mince meat, blended it down and cooked it down until it's a nice thick jam. But we're gonna put it inside of a square. So again, same ingredients go in. So if you would like to just kind of put some of these ingredients into the pot and just let us know what's going in while I grate up an apple and get the lemon ready.
We have sultanas, golden raisins,
Currants,
cinnamon, cloves,
all kinds of really heavy winter spices, which are what smells so amazing. And I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit of lemon in there, lemon juice for the acid.
nutmeg,
Allspice to finish it off. Awesome, and I've got some lemon zest that I'm just zesting here from half a lemon.
I have pineapple with the juice.
Pineapple with the juice. So Pam, if you want to pour the apple juice in there, the only other thing I changed about the recipe is I increased the amount of liquid because it's going to be boiling for a long period of time, so it tends to boil off. I've just probably tripled the amount of apple juice than what your original recipe would call for. Now, we could, and I'm sure you probably do peel your apple hay. I'm too lazy for that. So I'm going to just grate it with the peel on, and we're gonna throw that in with the other ingredients. And while I finish up grating this, why don't you give a loving shot of that brandy in there?
No.
That also adds to the wonderful flavor of these tarts. There you go. I've got that apple fully grated. So we'll get that into the pot as well, because all those spices are just it's gonna smell like almost like apple cider. Okay, let's get our brown sugar in there. We'll just stir it up, and we'll put it on a medium-low and just let it simmer away. So after several hours, it cooks down to this nice thick jam. Well, let's get this cleaned up, tidy up the kitchen a little bit, and we'll start making the shortbread base. Okay, Pam, I have everything in front of us now to make the shortbread base. I brought your family's heritage together from two sides, because I know you mentioned to me that one side of your family is from Scotland and one side's from England. So why don't you give me a little bit about your family while I cut some of this butter into some flour.
My father was born in England.
Yeah.
My mother was born in Scotland. The English part is the mincemeat.
Right.
And the Scottish part is the shortbreads that you can make.
Right.
And both of them, to us, have always been through our Christmas tradition to have both of those. Mom would also make a Christmas cake and a plum pudding with brandy butter.
All about the brandy. Amazing. So I'm just gonna add some sugar in here as well and get that mixed in and cut it in a little bit more. So I've got this broke down into little bits of butter, and if you wanna drop that egg right there in the center for me. Perfect. I'm just gonna break the yolk with my fingers and then I'm gonna get it mixed up. And if you want to as well, grab some of that vanilla for me if you don't mind, and I'll get you to pour some of that down in there. Teaspoon or a little bit more never hurt. Perfect, and I'll get that mixed in. All right, so Pam, we're going to press this part of the base that I've left into the bottom of a 9x13 pan, and then we're going to assemble these cookies for the oven so that we can enjoy them in just a little while.
Good.
Pam, if I could get you to take this butter and just grease that pan for me, I'm going to do a streusel topping to put on top of the mincemeat jam once we get it all in the pan. So we have our reserved cup of the base and some cracked up pecans, and then some white chocolate chips will also go in there. And this just gets sprinkled over the top of our jam layer. All right, so just toss that around. So again, it's some pecans, white chocolate, and some of our reserved base.
Okay.
And we're now gonna just press this lightly into the bottom of our 9x13. So we're just gonna press an even layer of that dough. And then once this is pressed in, we're gonna put a cup, and maybe a little bit more, you know, it doesn't have to be exact, of our jam layer. And this is the mincemeat jam. So I have our jam here, and like I said, about a cup. And we're gonna just spread that evenly. If you could grab a spoon for me, if you don't mind. And we're just gonna evenly spread that layer right over top. It smells amazing, and I can't wait to enjoy these with you. We're just almost there. And these are gonna bake at the same temperature your tarts do. So they're gonna bake at 350, and we're gonna bake them until they're nice and golden. So about 20, 25 minutes. Now let's take this beautiful streusel, and we can kind of do this together if you'd like. Take some of it, and we're just gonna toss it around the top. So it's a very simple recipe as well. You don't need any mixers or anything. Everything can be done by hand or with a spoon or a fork. I know my Christmas version that I make with raspberries is a fan favorite, so.
Oh, that sounds good too.
These will most definitely become a fan favorite around here if your family loves the mincemeat.
Oh, yes.
So Pam, I'll get you to pop those into the preheated oven, and in about 20 minutes, they'll be ready to come out. Now that our mincemeat shortbread bars have been cooling for about an hour, we're gonna get them out of the pan, onto this beautiful cutting board, by the way, and we'll get them chopped up and we'll start enjoying them. The moment we've been waiting for all day, hey?
That's my lunch.
I think this is a fabulous lunch. So I'm just using a spatula to make sure they're not fully stuck. So definitely wanna make sure that they're cooled. But I like to just cut the 9x13 pan into 3 rows because it gives you a nice sized bar. So I just, right down here, into 3 rows. Each row, an inch to an inch and a half. Our white chocolate has gone a little bit caramelized, so it's not like it's white anymore. It's got a little bit of caramel tones to it. So I'm gonna take this piece right here, but if we have a look, we can see that nice layer of shortbread bottom and the layer of jam and the caramelized white chocolate and the extra streusel on top. Oh, so good. I think it's time we have a little cheers and a bite.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That is good.
I think this might be a new recipe I have to add to my annual Christmas cookie list.
That is good.
But oh man, what a winner. Pam, thank you for inviting me into your home and allowing me to bake with you and to have the honor of tasting your bakes. And I can certainly see why your family thoroughly enjoys your mincemeat tarts. I'm so happy that I was able to bring both sides of your family heritage together to create these shortbread mincemeat bars for you. And I hope that they become part of your annual baking and that your family enjoys them as much as they enjoy your mincemeat tarts.
Would do. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Once again, thank you for joining us, and have a sweet day.